Look what I got. Hello, welcome in. My name is Skelly, and I wanted to tell you about something. Recently, I played Atomfall. Atomfall is a new survival action game set in Northern England. Pretty interesting premise, and visually at least, reminiscent of games like Fallout, Stalker, or even Bioshock. Today I wanted to go over my thoughts on the game, my experience, and maybe help you decide whether or not it's worth getting into if you haven't already. But anyway, let me not waste your time, let's get straight into it. Right away, the game starts off with a bit of a lore dump. So what had happened was, a nuclear disaster at the Windscale facility has caused abnormal and dangerous effects on the area. Due to this, the military has moved in, and now they're occupying multiple settlements and patrolling around to keep things safe. But anyway, once the cutscene's over, we load in and we get a bunch of important information from this guy. I'm not really sure what he means by that, but because I'm an empath, I was able to figure out that he needed healing. This part of the game acts as a little mini tutorial in crafting, and we go around, grab some alcohol, bandages, and get this guy healed up. After that, he gives us a special key card and tells us about something called the Interchange. We don't know much about it yet, but it's very important. I promise. On the way out the bunker, we find an outlaw. This little area serves as a stealth/combat section, and we punch this guy all over his head. As soon as we exit the bunker, we're greeted with 1, a beautiful view, and 2, a telephone. The creepy little guy living inside the phone tells us some things that I don't really understand, so we move on. After this, we're pretty much free to do whatever we want. The game doesn't give you much direction, you're meant to explore and get used to the mechanics. I take this opportunity to go around, loot nearby areas, and explore a bit. Bleed resistance? Why would I need to worry about bleeding?
I'm gonna cut you.
Hello? Creatures! Get away! We quickly find out just how dangerous this world is. Maybe pink means it's happy. We stumble our way around, barely surviving at every turn, and we find a secret tunnel. Secret tunnel. Go back. What if I don't want to go back? Pistol ammo. Thank you, skeleton. Why did he bleed? Why did he bleed? This neat little tunnel not only offers us protection, but it also leads us through to a brand new area. We come out the cave into this quaint little pub where I promptly steal everything I can, and no one really seems to care. Can I have these? After a bit of chaos, we exit the pub and enter to a little village called Windham. Windham Village?
I won't warn you again.
Oh my god. And while we explore, this is a good chance to explain how the quest system in this game works, because it's pretty interesting. Leads can range from anything between something someone said, a note you found, or an audio log. These leads will give you hints or guide you in the right direction to progress in whatever storyline you're doing. It's extremely vague and open-ended, which I understand isn't for everyone, and it certainly wasn't for me. I tried to work with this mechanic as long as I could, but eventually I had to change things up, and thankfully you can in the settings. You're able to adjust a variety of things in the settings, thankfully, including combat, survival, and exploration. For exploration, I turned on quest markers just because it's what I prefer. But either way, it's an interesting mechanic, and I respect them for going for it, especially because they give you the option to turn quest markers and things on if you really needed. Speaking of, however, our first lead sends us to the bakery where we find out Mrs. Baxter's husband has gotten very sick.
What? You know that he's... Doesn't really matter how you know, does it? Look, I'll talk, but only to show you I'm doing nothing wrong. You have to keep quiet about this, please.
I won't tell anyone. Yeah, I couldn't believe it either, honestly. Yeah, he was touching some blue stuff. You're not supposed to touch blue stuff, everybody knows that. He was touching it, touching up on the blue stuff. You would not believe me if I told you, but Mrs. Baxter's husband, sick as hell. You didn't hear it from me though. Mrs. Baxter informs us about someone who might have a cure. They live in the nearby woods and they go by the name Mother Jago. But before we head out, I wanted to do a bit more exploring. Did you know that cats can have a little salami? If you give cats a little salami, that's okay, because cats can have a little salami. You should give your cats a little salami. Everybody hates me in this town. Do you hate me? He hates me. Balloon gnome! I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. Fuck. Left control to take down. Chat, I have the opportunity to do the funniest thing, but I would never do something like that. That's evil for evil people, and I'm not that. I am so stealthy. You ever seen a purple orc? You never seen a purple skelly either. And I also just want to take a moment to acknowledge that this game is very pretty at times. Isn't this view just lovely? What do you think? Look at that. You see the... Why does the sky do that? As we enter the woods, I want to talk a bit about exploration and survival. This game has some pretty basic survival mechanics such as crafting and looting. And doing all this wasn't always that rewarding. I would end up losing more items than I gained from exploration, but that could just be me being dumb. No. This difficulty can be pretty punishing at times given that items are very sparse and combat can get pretty intense. Check out this move. This is the move that made LeBron cry. I think I missed both of those. I lost all my knives. I'm not a dead body. Ah! Your skills are unmatched, I must admit. However... Oh, he's good at this. Oh my god! As I explored the woods, I found an area full of druids, and they kicked my butt for a while. What is that? Put that down! What does this do? I shouldn't have done that. I just have to know what's in there, so... What's the worst that could happen? You wouldn't believe me if I told you. I died when I stepped in that fire. Ow! That's not good. How big is this area? I've been killing people for 6 days. 6 days non-stop. I just split your friend in half with an axe, and you still want to come and punch me in the head? Is it worth it at that point? I think at that point, it's not my fault what happened to you. Stop trying to kill me. Oh, I'm poisoned. Ugh, what the f. After a ton of fighting and a ton of being lost, we made our way to Mother Jazargo. After talking to her, she informs us that she can make the potion we're looking for, but the recipe book has been stolen by druids. That's right. Back to the castle. And since there's gonna be a lot more of it, let's talk about combat. Combat in this game is pretty fun, but a bit simple.
You, cheeky.
Just call me cheeky. Go to my Twitter to find out what he means by that. Your main options in combat involve a kick, a light attack, and a heavy attack, as well as ranged weapons such as bows and guns, but we'll get into those a bit later. Kick is pretty rewarding as it stuns enemies and gives you a good chance to capitalize on something like a heavy attack or even just shooting them in the head. Overall though, the combat wasn't super interesting, and by the end of the game, I found myself running past enemies or even just avoiding combat altogether. Either way though, we penetrate our way into the castle through the side entrance and we get our book back. Hello everyone, I have an announcement to make. The priestess fell over and died. But, as your new priestess, I will lead and make your lives better every day. Stop shooting arrows at me, please. I'm trying to finish this speech. By allowing Chicken Tender Thursday, where we all sit and eat chicken tenders. Ow! Oh my, they don't listen. They don't listen. Going back to traversal and exploration in this game, there is a ton of walking. And if that's not your thing, I recommend to go into the settings and turn on unlimited sprint, if you don't mind the sound of this heartbeat 24/7. Which reminds me, this game's stamina mechanics are pretty interesting. So rather than a bar that drains as you do actions such as attacking, running, or jumping around, the stamina in this game is measured by your heartbeat. As your heartbeat increases, you'll be able to do less and less until you need to take a moment and calm down. As you explore, there are a few cool points of interest, but keep in mind this game is not made to the scale of something like Fallout or Stalker. The world itself is pretty small, which isn't always a bad thing. It's just something to keep in mind and give you an idea of what to expect when you get into the game. The main story in this game isn't very long, but there is a bunch of other things to do to keep you occupied if you want to spend a little more time with it.
Prudence Rook, delighted to meet you. Welcome to my little corner of the world. I was just looking over the garden. We've rather let it get away from us, I'm sorry to say.
That's not good.
I should attend to the garden. Take care, won't you, dear?
Bye, crazy lady. But for me personally, the gameplay did get a bit repetitive, so I started to stick towards the main story and keep it pushing throughout. After grabbing the recipe book, we head back to Mother Jazargo.
Pleasure to see you again, dear.
But not before we get another cryptic call from that man that lives inside the phone.
I'm feeling lonely. Now I wish I fight and whether they can harm me.
He warns us that Mother Jazargo is not to be trusted. Which leaves us with only one option, to continue trusting Mother Jago. She then hands us an offering to bring into the Speaking Caves. She informs us to place the offering at a statue and that once we're inside, the druids won't attack us as long as we have the offering. So we go and do that. As we place the offering, a sinister voice calls out to us.
What's up, baby girl?
The voice informs us that Mother Jago is in the know, you know? After we take care of business, we head back outside to meet Mother Jago once more. She informs us that the bard scientists in the Interchange are stinky and shouldn't be trusted. The silly little voices in her head tell her to tell us that we need to head into the Interchange to find Oberon. Mother Jago doesn't seem to know what form Oberon takes, but she reassures us that this is really important. She also informs us that there's a certain serum we need to feed to Oberon to strengthen it. This serum is located within the medical wing of the Interchange. A lot of this game's lore is told to you through logs and notes found in the overworld, which can work at times if supported by the scenes and dialogue within the game. But so far I'm not finding myself very engaged or invested as I don't know exactly what is happening. A part of this does come from the fact that I haven't read every log I've come across and I haven't delved deep enough into the lore to really get a full understanding. So for now the mystery is still vague and hopefully things will come together as we go along. Something I should mention is that there are multiple endings in this game and the ending you get depends on who you place your trust with throughout the game. In our case we ended up trusting Mother Jago and the druids because I thought it would be funny. We have some leads that guide us to our first entrance to the Interchange. And keep in mind I did say first as there are many. As I enter the Interchange and power the big old door that'll let me in, I couldn't help but think of Fallout and their vaults. As we enter this ominous underground structure, we encounter some more spores that we've been seeing throughout the game. These spores seem to have a very dangerous effect on the people in and around the Windscale facility. There better not be anything scary in here. Ever since the event, the spores have grown stronger and more numerous in the surrounding areas. The full effects of the spores are still unclear, but it does seem to be turning people into big old evil zombies and making them hear the dirt, which is only a little bit weird. The druids we encountered earlier seem to be very heavily affected by this, but still somewhat in control, as compared to the zombie-like creatures we've encountered. We continue through the Interchange itself to notice that it's mostly unpowered. Thankfully, as we approach this console, we notice a battery laying right on the floor. For free. We immediately plug it in and notice that the facility starts to power up, but not fully. Your main goal in this game is to fully power the Interchange through the use of these batteries. Within the Interchange, there are 4 data centers as well as a central console that all need to be powered, in total requiring 5 batteries. But since we only found 1 lying on the ground and 1 by that priestess lady we killed, we'll have to get back to that later. Because as we turn on Data Center Alpha, the medical bay opens and that's all we need for now. Ow! As we enter medical, we encounter a bunch more of the zombie guys as well as just taking a bunch of damage from the spores in the area. Thankfully to Mother Jago, we have the recipe for the strange tonic. This cures our affliction and also gives us a resistance to it for a limited amount of time. So as we very calmly run through the area, we find a door and continue inside. As we enter, everything seems pretty chill, except for this guy. What is that? He's not chill. Oh, that was a cool T-pose you did. I think he might be. These enemies are known as thralls. They seem to be humans that are completely taken over by Oberon. As we explore the area, we end up finding the church key, and there's only one church I've seen so far, so we head back there. As we explore the church, we notice a door that allows us to use our new key we found.
Just put the fries in the bag, you skibbity twat.
What? You're lucky you're not going to get a skibbity-rich thrashing for such insolence.
Dr. Holder informs us that he knows where the serum is and even has a key card to allow us to progress further into the medical area. He also mentions that he's come up with a way to suppress his affliction and gives us some of that good, which gives us a good amount of resistance to the spores and makes exploring that area way easier. He told us a bunch of other things, but he never mentioned the dirt talking to him, which makes me think he's crazy, so we leave immediately. Thanks to the key card that Mr. Crazy Man gave us, we were able to explore more of the medical area and go deeper into the Interchange. You have to die eventually. Oh. Turns out they weren't. As we explore, we squeeze our way into this little hidden cave. Within this little cave, we find a few enemies and we beat them up because it's kind of funny. Once we reach the end of the cave, we find the serum we were looking for. With the serum in hand, we make our way all the way back out the Interchange. As Mother Django told us, the voices in her head told her to tell us that we need to give the serum to Oberon, because for whatever reason, it'll make Oberon much more better. The only problem is we can't reach Oberon. We need to power up the rest of the Interchange. To do this, we need to restore power to the other data centers. Unfortunately, we don't have any more batteries. You can get batteries in a variety of different ways, merchants, finding them around, or what we did, beat up giant robots. If you attack the robots enough, they overheat and the battery comes out for a few seconds, allowing you to grab it. To moderate success, we go around and...
Oh man.
beat up a bunch of robots. Something funny I want to mention here is that while doing all of this, the guards only got slightly upset.
I can't believe you've done this.
And for the most part, if I just ran away, they'd forget about it. This brings up another thing I noticed with this game where there's not a lot of repercussions to your actions. You can steal, you can attack, and the factions won't care either way. There are certain things you can do or quests you can follow to get the factions to be friendly with you. It's just not a for sure thing. Even though in the storyline that I had chose to follow, the druids were supposed to support me, they'd still attack me if I wasn't in certain areas. So as far as I know, the only way to access the different data centers is to go through the overworld and find different doors to the interchange. Each of the entrances to the interchange allow you to access a single data center, with the exception of the Slatendale one where you get 2. Pretty good deal. Being honest, at this point in the game, I wasn't super invested in the combat and I just ran past all the guards to get into this interchange door without any issues. Oh no! Okay, maybe one issue. Don't shoot me. Bye! But either way, we make our way around the map and we power up the interchange. With most of the interchange powered up, we only have one thing left to do. But we can't do it without a signal redirector. The signal redirector is a pretty cool little device that lets us redirect signals. With this silly little gizmo, we're able to redirect power from these little circuit thingies. But there's only one problem. We don't have it. So let's do something about it. In order to get one, we make our way to this bunker. We fight our way through this bunker and we find Windfall, who happens to have... wait for it. Windfall's key card. So great, we have a key. Now what? So what we did is we took our fancy key to another nearby bunker. Within this bunker, we fought a bunch of enemies. Hi.
Watch your heads, lads.
And found Windfall's crate. Within Windfall's crate, we found our reward, the signal redirector. Within the bunker, we tested out a bit on a few cool little puzzles. After completing these little puzzles, we go loot goblin mode, take our rewards, and we head out. We also found this really cool little shock weapon thing. So now that we have our fancy little thingamajig, we head back to the interchange to take care of business. We go around, we redirect signals, which allows us to finally access Oberon. But not yet. There's still some stuff we gotta do. We enter the Windscale plant and things are looking a little bit grim, but also really beautiful. Wow. We get into a few fights here and there, but that's okay. Nothing will stop us. The dirt told us what to do, and I'm gonna listen. After a bit of walking and a few tussles here and there, we make our way down into the dig site. And there it is. Oberon. The thing we've been looking for this entire time. We make our way towards Ortagarin, and the only thing left is to place the serum. But how do we do that? Well, surrounding Oberon is some fire suppression systems. We can use this, but not before getting into some more trouble. After taking care of the big old fire robot boys, we turn on the valves and we head upstairs. Once we're upstairs, we're able to insert the serum into the fire suppression system. And from there, all that's left to do is pull the lever. I don't know exactly what's happening, but I know that the dirt voices are gonna love me for this one. We spray that good goopy stuff all over Oberon, and things start happening. The world around us begins to shake and the spores grow stronger. But maybe a little too strong. I'm scared and we have to get the hell out of here. So we do. As we run out, I hear the phone ring and it stops me in my tracks. The entire time, the phone guy has been telling us we shouldn't be doing any of this.
You're a fucking ugly little cunt, mate.
I just know Benson is so gonna fire us. As we make our way back to the castle in Mother Jago, there's some soldiers laying siege to our druid friends. We can't let that happen. After getting some epic kills on soldier dudes and protecting our new friends, we make our way to Mother Jago.
Throw yourself into the pit. I am right behind you, child. Let the soil catch us. Let it set us free.
And she offers us escape. Escape through what could only be death, as we plunge into the unknown. With a 360, of course, because why not? And with that, we finish the game. We get a cool little cutscene and our journey ends. So now, it's time to talk. Overall, the game was pretty fun and interesting, but there was a few things I just couldn't look past. The game itself is not very long. My playthrough took around 10 hours, but keep in mind I didn't do everything the game had to offer and there are more endings if I choose to go back. However, I do feel like a lot of that time was spent running back and forth rather than engaging with meaningful content. There were some memorable interactions here and there, but they were few and far between. I respect the game for going the breadcrumb route and letting us figure out the story on our own. However, I didn't feel like there was enough breadcrumbs to keep me fully engaged, and I lost interest here and there. The exploration was fun and rewarding at times, although towards the end of my playthrough I explored less and less. They give you a good amount of items through the main story locations to where you don't really need to go out of your way to get more. The weapon variety was a bit tame, and I didn't always find myself itching to find something new. The weapons in this game break down into pretty simple categories. You have your small and fast weapons, such as knives. You have your big heavy weapons, such as the two-handed axe I used for most of my run, as well as a few ranged options. What I ended up using the most was the bow, as you can recover ammunition off the ground and it didn't alert enemies, most of the time. Another ranged weapon type was the guns. There was a decent amount of variety between pistols, shotguns, and rifles, as well as SMGs, which I didn't use much throughout my run. Ammo was already hard to find, so using a high fire rate weapon just seemed like a good way to waste it. Within the different subcategories of weapon types, there was some decent variety, but for the most part it was just a difference between fire rate and firepower. The combat, although simple, was fun enough and kept me engaged for most of the playthrough, but as I continued I started to lose interest. Speaking about guns though reminds me of the bartering system. This game doesn't have currency, which is an interesting choice, and I found it pretty cool. The way that shops work is that every item and weapon has a value to it. If you want something from one of the shops, you need to offer up enough goods to equal the value of the item you're asking for. And that's pretty much it. This game doesn't have any of those intense survival mechanics like hunger or exhaustion. It mainly just asks you to craft things to resist the different environments, explosives, equipment, things like that, as well as items to heal or cure yourself, such as bandages. I didn't mind the crafting, and it never became too tedious, other than the fact that during combat it does not pause the game, which you can change in the menus if you want. The inventory itself was extremely limited, and more often than not you found yourself crafting healing items mid-combat, so it was a nice feature to have. If I had to break my opinion of this game down into a more digestible rating system, I'd have to give it a firm 7 Sableye wearing Tims out of 10. Something I will mention though is I played the game through Game Pass, and if you're unsure about it, I recommend you do the same if you can. It comes in at around $50 asking price, and if it weren't on Game Pass, I'd probably wait for sale. Keep in mind though, this is a smaller studio and it would be unreasonable to think that they can deliver anything on a huge scale. It's a fun little game, and maybe you'll have more fun than I did. If you're interested in games that throw you in and let you figure everything out on your own, as well as some simple survival mechanics, combat, and a fun little story, give it a try. But as for me, I have to get back into some real hardcore gaming. I'm pegging so hard right now. Free ball! Let's go. Easy game. Super ball. Yes, yes. Easy free ball. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? We don't need to worry about that anymore. Oh. Don't you dare roll back. Oh, you sorry mother. Check this move out. This is the move that made LeBron cry. Ooh. Get the last one. Get the no. Yes. No. Oh no! You know what? I'm gonna get more score because I'm a bad bitch. Oh. Okay, with one ball, can I get all of this shit? I bet I could. I bet you anything I could. Right here. Big money, big money. Whatever, I'm gonna beat the level right here. Wait. Okay, if we just skim it like this. We just skim it. Trust. What if I really let you down? What if I did? That was crazy. If you like this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you like content like this. If you're interested in joining me live, I do have a Twitch where we yap and film some challenge runs. It's a great time. I also have my socials linked below if you're interested in that sort of thing. And I also have a pretty wicked Discord where we talk about all sorts of things as well as hang out from time to time. But that's all from me. Until next time, take care of yourself, drink more water, and don't you dare go home.